sound the alarms. Because I am pissed that I can't possibly get any more excited for this news that came out. Hades 2 just released some major developments, and I am beyond excited to talk about it. So before getting right into it, my introduction to Hades was from watching Oni Plays, the Let's Play channel, play the original game years and years ago. I watched about maybe 1 to 2 minutes of it, and I instantly had to turn it off because I knew this was a game that I wanted to play for myself. And that's saying a lot coming from me, because I'm a very casual gamer. I usually don't get like that into gaming developments, but this is one that instantly hooked me. I've since beaten it multiple times through multiple consoles. I have it on my Switch and PS5, courtesy of a great friend of mine who gifted it to me. You can see in the background here, it might be a little bit blurry right now, but I'll show it on screen. I have my wall art of Zagreus, as well as my figure of Zagreus from Good Smile Company's Pop-Up Parade line, which is affordable yet detailed, and I really like it. I think it turned out very great. So all of that is to say that when the news came out today that they were live streaming actual gameplay from Hades 2, I was immediately stoked. I had to watch the whole thing, stop everything I was doing, and get a hold of that footage to see what it's looking like. I was a little bit split on whether or not I actually wanted to watch it, because similar to the first game, as soon as I saw it, it was something that I wanted to experience myself. But I just couldn't help myself. I had to see what's in store for Hades 2. And I'm glad that I did. It looks really good, and so today, I'm going to be going over my thoughts. So this isn't really going to be a detailed TLDR style going over the stream. It was a very long stream, and I urge you to go watch it for yourself if you're interested. They go over a lot of stuff, there's a lot of gameplay, and there's a lot yet to be seen from it. What I am going to be doing, however, is just talking about the highlights, things that I really enjoyed seeing, some things that I might want to see in the future when the full game releases. So right off the bat here, from the very beginning, you're introduced to the title screen with the new main character, Melanoe, and some of the introductory music that goes along with that. So right here, I already have some stuff to say. First of all, I don't really think I'll ever complain about a company taking creative liberties. It's one thing when a company panders to a certain specific audience or something like that, but here it just feels like they're being creative, they want to tell a story, and they're just using their form, the game, to tell the story that they want to tell in a way that's engaging, fun, and exciting for people. And I think they are doing a very good job of that, and I'm very excited to see it. So I'm happy that we have a new main character. I think Melanoe seems really cool. If they did release a game with just more Zagreus, I wouldn't have complained, but I'm also happy to see what Melanoe brings to the table. And speaking more on the music, I'm beyond happy that they brought Darren Korb back to reprise his role as the musician, the person who's developing all the songs and the music for the game. I think that he did such an excellent job on the first one. I mean, some of those tracks were in my regular listening pool for a very long time. I can always appreciate someone who's not afraid to go out of the way of doing something beyond 4/4 time signature, or even 3/4 time signature. He's got some like really interesting music taste going on in there, and I am all for it. I love it. I love the sound. And I also can appreciate how so far in this one, we see a lot of the same kind of motifs going on, but I don't know if it's just me sort of projecting the visuals that I'm seeing onto the music, but it feels like it has a bit more of like a mystic sort of vibe to accompany the fact that Melanoe is a witch. So it makes sense. It would have a bit more of a mystic vibe. Again, I don't know if that's just me knowing that and applying that tone to the music, or if the tone actually does accompany that very well, but it seems like it does to me. Going into more of the active gameplay, I really like that you see some different enemies. It looks like there's an entirely different enemy pool going on here, especially at the very beginning. We have some of the more easy enemies to go with the first biome, but that doesn't mean that they are all the same type of enemies that you get in the first game. Stemming from that, it seems like they took a lot more of the same kind of concepts from the first game, but sort of amplified them so that the gameplay gives you, the player, a lot more agency to play however, in whatever style that you want to play. I will never complain about a game giving the player more agency. I think that's incredible, it's a great decision, and I think it also seems a lot more fun because it accompanies the fast-paced style that the game offers, especially the repeatability that it has, and the fact that it is a roguelike, so you're constantly going back to the beginning and replaying it. Now, I know that Supergiant Games has also been, like, well known for never doing sequels. Of course, that is until Hades 2. But it seems like they didn't just throw everything out the window, so again, we do have a lot of the same kind of concepts, but not only that, but we do also see a lot of familiar faces, as well as similar resources that we had in the first game. So it's like a lot of the same things will appear, but with so many new things to accompany it all. And I think that's a really great idea. Such as seeing a lot of the same old gods. So I think that Greek mythology is such, it's like, it has such untapped potential for, like, not even just video games, but like movies, TV shows. I mean, I know we have like Percy Jackson and stuff like that, but I don't really know if those movies are very good. I remember seeing the first one a long time ago, and I think the general consensus on those is that like the books are better, which, I mean, that's usually kind of what happens, but I think people were disappointed about these. I remember watching a video where someone was did a watch through of them, and they kind of ripped it to shreds, so I don't really think it's pretty good. But anyway, there's like so many other stories from Greek mythology that have yet to be told that could be told in such a fun and interesting way. But I digress. So getting back to the point again, seeing a lot of the same old gods is fun. I love seeing Zeus, Aphrodite of course, Poseidon, seeing all of them as well as accompanied by some new gods like Apollo. I think Hephaestus was in there towards the end of the stream. We also get like the Daedalus hammers. I think it'll be really cool to see Daedalus at some point, like see him actually like in action. Maybe you interact with him and thank him for all like the cool weapons that he's given you, especially since like when you see a Daedalus hammer in the first game, it's like you're almost always choosing that because that's where a lot of the game breaking mechanics come from. And I was beyond overjoyed when we were able to see Artemis. She was my favorite one from the first game. But not only that, but she also had a character model, which I thought was very interesting because that opens up a lot of possibilities. So seeing a full 3D rendered model for Artemis is making me think, is she going to be a boss at some point? Are you going to fight with her? I know that you get some abilities from her, but having a full 3D model makes me think maybe some of the other gods have 3D models and what sort of implications that might have when the full game releases. I don't know. I do know that Melinoe seems very determined to fighting against Kronos because she's constantly saying death to Kronos, and this feels like the kind of trope where there might be some sort of trickery where he might not be the actual enemy. So maybe he's being manipulated in some way, and then maybe some of the other gods will be manipulated, and maybe you'll end up fighting up against them and releasing them from some kind of trickery or something. I don't know. We have like witchcraft going on too, so I don't know where the story's going to go, but I'm curious to see if that does play a larger factor in the game, because it seems almost like a waste to put a full 3D model of her and not have it have some larger impact than just showing up on screen. If not, I'm still excited though, because I think it looks great, but either way, I'm interested in seeing where that goes. And then moving on from the gods, a lot of the other new faces I think are kind of interesting too. I think comparing Melinoe to Zagreus is fun because they both seem insanely likable. I like that Melinoe has a little frog companion that you can pet every time you enter the new biome, or every time you enter the new hub world, which almost feels like a nice treat. It's like you die and you get to pet like a little froggy. You talk to him, like, how great is that? Like, you can't really complain about that. It almost makes dying in the game feel like it's a treat. Dora seems kind of fun. I like the weird polarizing dynamic that she has with like haunting and being like scary and evil, and then also just being like chill, kind of like goofy. I do think a lot of the other people involved, though, seem like they're really mean to Melinoe for no reason. I'm looking at you, Nemesis.
Already hit a wall. Knocked your scrawny ass all the way back here. It's insane that she's sending you out on foot, all on your own.
Like, maybe just chill out a little bit? But I mean, so like, some of the more on-the-nose comparisons between Melinoe and Zagreus I think are also really interesting because they are siblings. And they do have some similar characteristics. Like, I like how their eyes are both the two different colors, and I like how they both are wearing that same sort of red leaf hairpiece, or headpiece, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if there's a name for that thing, but I like it. I think it's interesting. I also think that it's cool that Melinoe and Zagreus have sort of similar vibes to them, in the sense that they're both extremely dedicated and motivated individuals. Zagreus was literally stopping at nothing, no matter how many times he had died to accomplish his goal of getting to the surface and meeting his mother. Whereas Melinoe seems like she's motivated just to save her family. However, I don't know if I was just reading too into this, but it also seems like there's an underlying layer of like maybe inexperience from Melinoe that I can really appreciate. It makes her seem a lot more relatable. So just starting off, when she opens up the first boon, she has to kind of like hype herself up and say like, it's just 10 words, just say it. And then she like meets the first god, and a lot of them are her meeting for the first time, with an exception being Artemis, which seems like she has a pretty solid relationship with already. And then she's also constantly reminding herself of the mantra of Death to Kronos, which seems like something that doesn't really have to be stated, but she keeps trying to like keep herself on the track because like it means so much to her to accomplish her goal and her mission. So it seems like she has like all the same kind of confidence and dedication that Zagreus has, but maybe needs to believe in herself a little bit more. I don't know. Maybe I'm just reading too much into that, but I kind of got that sense, possibly. I think some of the gameplay mechanics seem like really cool too. I like that they didn't, again, just do a lot of the same stuff, but they took the same kind of concepts and sort of evolved them into a different direction. It seems like the fighting all seems a lot more fun, but again, you get like a lot more agency and customization in the way that you actually do it, with having like super moves or whatever they ended up being called. I can't really remember the specific name that they chose for them. But you get different ways to fight, and then different ways to use different boons and power-ups to power up those moves in whatever ways that you need to. But it still seems just as engaging and fun, and it seems like the gameplay reflects the mission that they had and the ambition that they had behind it. And if that's the case, then I'm all the much more looking forward to it, because the first game was so much fun. Some other things that I'm more looking forward to, though, are maybe, I don't know if you got to like play a Zag again, which if you don't, like, I'm totally fine with that. Melinoe seems like she stands very well on her own. But I think it would be cool to be able to play again with him, maybe after you complete the game a first time, or maybe if you like free him or something in your family, you get to like run around the biomes as him. Or even if you were able to like team up with him in some capacity or something. But I think I just want to see Melinoe and Zagreus interact, because they are siblings, and I think that's going to have some kind of impact on the game. And I want to see, like, I don't know, I just want to see Zag again. I missed the guy. Also, seeing duo boons again I think would be fun. I'd love to be able to see the gods interact in different ways, and again, the fact that they have a 3D model of Artemis I think opens up the window for if you have like a duo boon room again. Maybe you get to see the 3D models come down into the world and do stuff, and maybe like you'd be able to join up with one and you're teaming up and fighting the other one to get both the boons. I think that would be, I don't know, like, I just feel like there's so many possibilities there, and I love the idea of it. But I'd love to be able to see the gods interact more. I think, I don't know if this is something that's going to happen, because it doesn't really seem like, from what they showed, this is part of the mission. But I think it would be cool to be able to see the gods' realm in some way or some capacity, especially because you interact with them so much, and I feel like it's alluded to in so many ways. Seeing like how they actually are up in like their own realm would be kind of nice. But maybe that's not going to happen, I don't know. But it still would be nice to see that as like a possible biome, or maybe even like a sub-biome or something that you can like run around and interact with and have fun around. Something else too that I think is, so far from what they showed, it seems like you can get some like game-breaking builds, but I really want to see that like to the next level. I think the difficulty in the first game was great. I think even if you have like a really good build, you can still have the it's weird to say like the opportunity to lose, but like it's not a guarantee that you're going to beat the game, even if you do have like a really good build, because you still need to play well. But it did seem like they were pretty balanced for the most part. In this game, I feel like it would be insane if they just went balls to the wall and like let some builds be truly game breaking. Like, I'm talking like one-shot kills of bosses, but you have to get lucky. Like, I think that would be great, especially if like different boons can interact in different ways, where like you're throwing out all sorts of stuff and having it interact in different ways. Like, I just want to see some crazy shit. I don't know. I think that would be awesome. I think that would be a lot of fun. I know in other roguelikes, like Binding of Isaac, stuff like that can happen, which that's not really like a game that was for me. But something akin to that, where it's like the different ways that the builds and power-ups that you get can interact. I'd love to see that have a much more larger impact on the game, and see if maybe there is something that people can fish for that is like truly broken. But again, it's another thing where if that doesn't happen, it's not going to like hinder my excitement for the game. It won't be a disappointment. It's just something that I think would be like cool if you get like a really, really, really good build and you can feel like you are now the god within the game. And I think lastly, I'm also hoping that in the end you do get like another Pact of Punishment style customization, where you can sort of have your own agency in detailing the ways in which you want the game to become more difficult, especially when it comes to like collecting more rare resources. I think that that was a really interesting idea from the first game that I'd love to see reprised in this one. But again, I mean, like, if not, I'm on for the ride, man. I'm probably going to be getting the game day one release whenever it comes out on console. And I think from here, again, I wasn't really sure if I was going to watch the live stream or not. I'm really glad that I did, especially because there is so much content that seems to be missing and some like stuff that you still have to straighten out. But I think from here, I'm probably not going to be watching much more, because everything after that first biome, I'd like to kind of be surprised when I play it for myself. But I really just wanted to get this video out just to express like my excitement for it. I think the more buzz that the game gets, the better it'll do. And I think that judging from the first game and from the stuff that we've seen so far, it really deserves it. It is such a great experience. And I hope other people are excited too. Let me know what you're thinking in the comments. If you watched this far, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you think. And yeah, on to the next one. See ya!